All right, today we're gonna demo about the apple crisp, and the first thing we need to do is peel and cut our apple. You could go to your kitchen and wash your apple, and we'll want you to do that, but you could get a peeler out and a knife and do that at home if you didn't have one of these peelers. We actually have a nice peeler slicer. It uses a suction cup, so the teacher should already have it suction cup to the table. And then this is where your apple's gonna go. It should be in the back position, so then we can fit our apple on. Okay, so you may take your apple and push it on to where the core is going in a straight line. This is a sharp blade, this circled part that's gonna make your core. This is a sharp blade that's gonna cut the slices of your apple. And over here, this is a sharp blade that's gonna actually peel the apple. So in the directions we were listening, and it said to shore up the apple. So you're gonna like just move, use this button right here, and your teacher will help you. She might even do it, but move this so we can slide it up and make sure that this blade is kind of engaged in the peeling of the apple. And then you're just gonna kind of put your hand on here to make sure it stays, and you're gonna crank this in a circle, and hopefully the peel is sliced off. It slices your apple and it cores it at the same time. And you just keep going, and it should peel and slice your apple. Sometimes the peel doesn't go, and you can also just pull it off and your core stays on. Sometimes it peels it, sometimes it doesn't, but here is your apple, nice and sliced. We have now peeled and sliced the apples. They're gonna turn brown kind of quickly just because they've been exposed to brown or to the oxygen, so you can kind of see in there. While we were figuring out the slicing and peeling, we put it in some water with some lemon juice to keep it from browning, but yours will probably brown pretty quickly, which is just fine. You're gonna take a butter knife and you're going to kind of peel them apart a little bit, and you wanna cut them into, I would say, bite-sized pieces. So each person can kind of cut their own apple, and you could do it quickly, you could do it slow, whatever you wanna do. You could break it in half, but I'm just gonna kind of go through here and make sure they're the slices that I would like on a fork. Okay, so then let me read my recipe. It says, in a small bowl, mix together the apple filling ingredients and the apple. So I'm gonna take the apples, put them in a small bowl. And since it says mix, I'm probably gonna need a spoon to do that. I've already melted my butter, so I'm going to pour the butter over top. There's not very much butter, so you're definitely gonna wanna need to use your rubber spatula to get all that butter in there. And then open up your Ziploc bag and really try to get all of that filling in there as well. And we can throw this away. And I'm gonna go ahead and use a silverware spoon just because it's kind of a small bowl, and I wanna make sure everything gets coated. All right, that looks good to me. When you guys do yours, you may wanna take time to like separate the apples so it really can get in between each slice. Okay, I'm gonna organize my workspace. So I'm gonna set this aside. And then the directions say, in another small bowl, mix the apple crisp topping ingredients, the softened butter, flour, oats, brown sugar, and cinnamon. You will need to work the butter into the mixture with a fork and use a mashing method. Okay, so I'm gonna use the topping, which is the oats, is the main ingredient. Throw this away again. And then I'm gonna use my softened butter. Remember, softened is not melted. Softened is like spreadable butter. So you're gonna go ahead and put that in there, and you're gonna use your fork, and you're going to mash it, and it might take you a little bit. Some of this mixture is kind of getting stuck on my fork, so I would use your rubber spatula to kind of clean off your fork and leave it close, and continue to kind of mash the ingredients together until it becomes a consistent consistency. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's gonna look chunky and stuff, but notice that most of the dry ingredients has been mixed into the butter, so it looks very similar. So then the next step is to spray your mug. When you're gonna spray something, you always wanna make sure you're over the sink to make sure you don't leave like oily residue to make somebody fall. So hold it over your pan, and you never wanna be super close. You wanna mist around the whole thing. So I'm just gonna hold it back here and spray once or twice. And notice inside, there's no dripping. It's just an even mist. So we've sprayed our pan, or sprayed our mug. Start by layering half of the apple mixture at the bottom and then top with the top half of the topping. So we're gonna do half of this. Okay, I dropped an apple. And then I'm gonna come over here, move this out of my way, and do half of the crumb topping. Press it down a little bit so I can make sure I can fit all of my apples in there. And then I'm going to add the rest of my apples, or as many as will fit in my mug. And I'm gonna leave some of my apples out, but I'm gonna go in here and make sure I get a lot of this cinnamon stuff. Maybe I can fit them all. It'll be close. Remember when you're doing apple recipes that not all apples are the same size. So sometimes you may have too much or a little bit less than the recipe, and that's okay. So you're gonna carefully place this crumb topping on top. And it's okay if you make a mess. Cooking is messy. We can always clean it up. Kind of get every last bit of that butter because it's gonna be so good. All right, and now, just because I'm the way I am, I'm gonna take some of this and press it down with my hands just to make sure I don't make a big mess in the microwave. And then what would you wanna do is make sure you wash your hands before you put it in the microwave. All right, guys, so we now have our apple crisp ready, and we're gonna microwave it for 3 minutes. Remember, when we use the microwave, we need to wipe down the top, the bottom, the inside of the microwave, and everything when we're done. And we're gonna do 3 minutes. Cook time, maybe. Let's see.
Clear it. I think someone left time on it.
Okay, there you go. Cook time, 3, 0, 0, start. All right, guys. So it is done microwaving. I'm gonna get my oven mitt. And you may or may not need it, but I don't wanna touch anything that's hot. Ooh, it smells good. So it is done. And to let it cool off, apples really, really hold heat a lot, and so do potatoes. So we wanna make sure that it has some air to breathe and really cool off. So I kept my rubber spatula. While I was waiting, I did some dishes. And also, if you are waiting and you notice another microwave's available, you may want to take the time to use somebody else's microwave. Feel free to do that. So use your rubber spatula. Ooh, the apples are nice and soft. They're not crunchy anymore. So I'm going to clean out my mug, and then this goes over in the dirty pile.
And you might rinse it right away just so that the oats don't stick real hard.
And it turns into concrete.
Yeah, it makes
really
it
gets
hard
sticky.
to clean.
Yep. So rinse that out. And then here's your apple crisp. I would suggest eating it with a fork or a spoon. And it's really good with ice cream over top or just by itself.